drive for second place on
Well, the financial regulations in the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship, they are super important in a similar way than sporting or technical regulations are. They try to provide fairness, so every single team and every single manufacturer play with the same cars when they are racing.
Engineers being engineers will always want to find as much performance that they can out of a particular package. The challenge with that, of course, is that there's a cost associated with doing just that.
Financial regulations have two main objectives. The first one is closer competition, the second one is financial sustainability. Closer competitions, because now is not who will spend the most, it's more who will spend the smartest and allocate the money to the right performance differentials. Financial sustainability, because now you don't have the risk anymore of having a huge cost increase over the year, because you have one big manufacturer that spends a lot and then you need to catch up and spend even more.
You know how much money you will have to spend to keep competitiveness at the right level, but also the expenses at the right level.
You have basically two regulations, one for team, one for manufacturer. For the manufacturer cost cap, we have circa 13 million cost cap per year, and we cap all the consultancy, salaries, goods and materials for the R&D and the manufacturing of the car. We have a team cost cap of 13 million for more or less all the cost of operating the team. When you are a team, you need to hire mechanics, to book your travel, to buy a car, and to go to every race track. We cap all these costs. On the other side, there are some costs excluded, like driver costs especially, and some admin costs like HR, legal, finance, which remains excluded.
Having the cost cap in place means that we've got a framework which controls us. It also means that it gives us an additional challenge to make sure that we get the best bang for the buck out of everything that we do. I see that as another opportunity, though, to differentiate between the teams and manufacturers that do a good job from those that don't.
In case of alleged breach, we start a legal correspondence to ensure we really crystallize the breach and we are 100% sure. Once that is sure, there is two cases. We are either in minor overspend or major overspend, above 5% of the cost cap. If we are in minor overspends, there is two possibilities. Either we agree a settlement with the team because we have sufficient mitigating factors. Otherwise, we go to the panel. And for major overspend, we need and we have to directly go to the panel. The panel is a panel of judges, similar to the steward system on sporting side, 3 judges that will judge the breach. You could have various penalties. It goes through public reprimand, financial penalty, sporting penalty to an exclusion of the championship in the most serious case.
Probably the biggest challenge for a team like us is on the accounting side. I mean, prior to the cost cap, it was basically a case of we had a certain amount of money, so we operated quite frugally. Whereas now we have to account for every single invoice. It's also quite a stressful thing as well for someone like me, because ultimately I'm the one that signs to say we're okay. And then we have to go through the audit process with the FIA to ensure that what we've reported is correct. We haven't tried to do something underhand and hide money. But there's also an element, it could be just a genuine mistake where we've coded something to an incorrect area. Maybe it's just a different interpretation of the regulation. So there's quite a lot of work that goes into it. It's made our lives a little bit more complex. At the end of the day, we're engineers, we're race car people, we're not necessarily accountants.
There is a different way to control the cost in motorsport. Most popular is to limit the technical development by technical regulations. So by defining a very strict technical framework, we can somehow control the cost, reduce the cost, and prevent a bit too much or too extensive development, which implies technical cost. The other way is to limit the performance of the car which would make the development of the technical components less impacting the performance, so that will reduce the appetite of the manufacturers' teams to run the technical development, which could be expensive for longer term. And then we have the third method, which is the introduction of the cost cap. It's the way to manage on the regulatory side by controlling the cost of the operating teams, by controlling the cost of the manufacturer developing cars, as it is the case already in Formula E since season 9.
It's also a management tool in the way you deal with your team and your technical team, because that framework being created is helping on telling the guys, now we have to be smart on choosing the best way of spending the money, because you know that the framework given is not giving you enough money to do everything as you would like. So you need to make some choices on what is the option which is bringing the most important value to your package. And for me, that's probably where is the most interesting, because I don't want to say that if we had full budget it will be easier. It's not the case, because you explore, but at least it creates something additional in the responsibility you have on choosing the right ways of getting the performance at the right level.
Basically, all regulations work together. What is done on a technical regulations or what is done on sporting regulations has an impact on financial regulations and vice versa. Simple example, what is included in sporting regulations, for example, in terms of what are the people who is working on the teams on site. We have a proper control of every single individual who is working for the teams, that is cross-checked as well on financial regulations to ensure that all the parameters of the financial regulations are complete.